Welcome to my views and news. Views, these minutes ceasefire is in place in Sudan, largely holding. The ceasefire was announced yesterday after Antony Blinken, US Secretary of State, talked to Hamdan Dagalo and Abdul Fattah al-Burhan, the military chief. No large-scale violations of the ceasefire are being reported, though in the first 2 hours there were a few violations. Question is, who is backing rapid support forces? We'll have a look at this question in this video. Because Sudanese military yesterday spoke about some countries which are allegedly backing Hamdan Dagalo rapid support force. Shamsuddin al-Kabashi is a top Sudanese general, member of Sudan's Transitional Sovereignty Council. And yesterday he gave an interview to a news channel. And without naming anyone, he mentioned 2 countries. He said 2 countries provided rapid support forces with military aid. And they continue providing support to the RSF. He claimed that 2 planes carrying military aid arrived to support RSF fighters. And Sudan has now announced that it has closed its airspace. So no foreign plane is allowed to enter Sudan. Nowhere in Sudan. Purpose is to block all aid deliveries, military aid deliveries to the rapid support forces. Kabashi did not name any country, but he gave some hints. Hints are clear. We can draw conclusions from what Kabashi said about the countries which are backing RSF. He said that one of the countries which is backing RSF is Sudan's neighbor in western direction. It means one of the 2 countries is Sudan's neighbor, other is not. Which countries are on Sudanese western border? In western direction, Sudan borders 2 countries, Chad and Libya. Sudan's border with Chad is a relatively long border. Sudan-Libya border is shorter border than Sudan-Chad border. And we have seen unrest in both these neighboring countries, Libya and Chad. So one of the countries whose name not mentioned by Kabashi is either Chad or Libya. RSF fighters rose from Darfur. Darfur shares border with Chad, close to Libya too. So, which country is providing aid to RSF, Chad or Libya? We know that RSF fighters fought in Libya. When I covered Libya war, internal civil war in Libya, I remember that RSF fighters, Janjaweed fighters fought there in support of Libyan National Army, LNA. LNA was led by General Khalifa Haftar. Egypt was backing LNA back then. UAE was backing LNA too. Turkey was on the other side. Turkey was backing GNA. So Turkey and UAE were on opposite sides. UAE was supported by Egypt. And back then, we remember that these Janjaweed fighters, RSF fighters, were brought to Libya from Sudan, and they were fighting there in Sudan. From Sudan, they entered Libya, they were fighting in Libya. It wasn't a secret. Therefore, shares border with Chad. Janjaweed fighters have been involved in activities in Chad too. Chad has closed its border with Sudan. When the fighting broke out 5 days ago, Chad announced closure of its border. So most probably the country which is supporting RSF on Sudan's western border is Libya. Because in Libya there are pro RSF elements, as RSF fighters have been fighting there, they fought there in the past in support of LNA. So one country could be Libya, and the other one could be the United Arab Emirates, because UAE RSF relations have become stronger in the past few years. UAE struck a deal with Hemedti to deploy RSF fighters in Yemen. Thousands of RSF fighters fought in Yemen in support of UAE Saudi-led coalition there. And Sudanese military fought there as well. So UAE and Saudi Arabia, they struck deals with the Sudanese military and Hamdan Dagalo's RSF fighters. Both groups fought in Yemen, and in Yemen there were around 30 to 40,000 RSF fighters who fought there. So UAE RSF relation has several dimensions: military cooperation, and then Sudanese gold, which is under the control of Hemedti's RSF, ends up in Dubai mostly, from where it is sold, exported. That is why another country supporting rapid support forces could be the UAE. UAE has been supporting Ethiopia as well. We saw that in the 2-year-long war, that UAE provided combat drones, other military supplies to Ethiopian government. And UAE has been using Ethiopian Harar Mada airport for its military operations in Yemen. UAE has been using a military base in Eritrea too, a sub-military base. I think now it is not being used by the United Arab Emirates. So UAE's footprints in and near Sudan are very visible. Second country supporting RSF could be the United Arab Emirates. A video is being shared by some news outlets. It has been claimed the video was released by Sudanese military. It shows the ammunition which is being used by RSF fighters. Some boxes of ammunition are shown in this video, which contain 120 mm TB thermobaric airdrop shells made in Serbia, supplied and sold to the United Arab Emirates after 2020. And these shells are now being used in Sudan by rapid support forces. Some say that UAE provided these shells to the rapid support forces. So gradually evidence is emerging that some neighboring countries are involved. Is there any role of Ethiopia, Eritrea? Because Hamdan Dagalo was seen in Eritrea more than a month ago. He visited Russia last year. He visited Ethiopia. He was seen with PM Abiy. And PM Abiy's government is not comfortable with growing Egyptian influence in Sudan. It's difficult to say what is the role of Eritrea and Ethiopia in this conflict. If the conflict goes on, if this war is prolonged, we could see neighbors drawn in: Egypt, Ethiopia, Eritrea. And sometimes the silence is a support as well. Silence means that you have your moral support for some party. Though Ethiopia is calling for restraint, calling for resolution, Eritrea is silent. We cannot say for sure what is the role of these two countries in this conflict. Sudanese military is not accusing Ethiopia. It's not accusing Eritrea. So far, it's accusing, I think, Libya and UAE without naming them. And we can talk about Russian involvement to Russia, Hemedti ties. Russia buys gold from Hemedti. But again, no evidence about the presence of Russian Wagner fighters in Sudan so far. So far, Russian support could be moral, maybe diplomatic too. Russian Wagners are operating in Central African Republic, but yesterday Wagner had denied reports regarding involvement of their fighters in Sudan. So overall, we can say that so far old allies of the Rapid Support Forces are supporting them in this war. What about Egypt? Several rumors were being spread since yesterday that Hemedti said that Egyptian plane was bombarding RSF positions. No truth in these rumors, because Yusuf Aziz is a spokesperson of Rapid Support Forces. Last night I saw one of his interviews and he appreciated Egypt for calling for a peaceful solution to the conflict. He did not say that Egypt was involved in airstrikes on RSF positions. Some social media activists are sharing false information. Hemedti did not accuse Egypt that Egypt was involved in support of Sudanese military. So that is what seems to be the case so far. But we could see more information about involvement of other players in this war in coming days if this war goes on. Let's hope, let's pray that the war ends and Sudanese people see peace and prosperity. Thank you for watching.